Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Influencer A-List and I'm Aarti Krishnan. I have with me a very special guest today, Shraddha Gurung, who in fact is a beauty influencer, but she talks about body positivity, skin positivity and more. Let's go ahead and speak to her. Shraddha, thank you for joining our show. Tell us about your journey so far, how you got into content creation and how your journey has been.
Hi, so nice to see you guys again. And first of all, thank you so much for inviting me. I think that's really kind of you guys. So we're starting with that. I have been a content creator for over 6 years now. The first three I spent working with a really nice big company where I was producing, where I was the talent, where I was also doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And then post that, I have been just an independent content creator, full-time creator for the last 3 years. So it's been a crazy journey because it seems like I've already done and posted and shot every possible thing that I could. So it's been quite an interesting up and down sort of a journey.
Right, Shraddha, you mentioned that you were in fact working, you were doing a full-time job and now you're a full-time content creator. So tell us about the comparison in terms of the time you get now to fully focus on your content, and has that then changed the quality of your content? And is that something that you'd suggest that people, who are doing full-time jobs and wanting to focus on their content creation, would you then just suggest, jumping into it full-time?
So I think it was different when I had started. I was 19 when I started working. I was in college where I started like a full-time job because I kind of knew that this is where I should be. It felt right when I joined the company. So it has been, it is quite challenging. I'll be very honest. It's very challenging doing a full-time job with anything else involved, not just content creation, any even to follow just a hobby. I'm pretty sure you guys work crazy hours, especially like on news channels like yours. So it's always going to be like, what do you want to do in your life and how much do you really want to do it, like how badly do you really want to do it, that with your real actual circumstances in life. Like if at all finance is a problem, which it was for me. So I made sure that I did my job, I made myself stable, secure, and that's when I started shifting my focus back on my content because I was a blogger before I had a full-time job. So if at this point in time someone wants to do it, I think could be a tad bit easier given how COVID has completely transformed working spaces and we're just mostly we're working out of our homes, right? So in that scenario, somehow I feel that you get a little more time to be able to focus on something else or to have something else to just keep yourself sane. When I was doing it, I was working crazy hours, say 15, 16 hours in the job. And then college se padhai kar rahi thi. I wanted to graduate, like get good marks and all also. And then I was, whatever time I was getting in the morning, sham ko, raat mein, extra hours, I would work on my blog. I would try and learn how to, put some codes in and stuff like that. So I genuinely feel that it's one, not easy. I've heard so many people say that, 9 to 5 easy hai, mujhe passion follow karna hai. But passion varies, right? It's not the same for everybody and everything's difficult if you're actually doing it imandari se. So I just say that if you want to do it, know that it's going to be a lot of work, but it's also going to be so gratifying at the end of the day that all of that effort will be worth it. Just we need to have a very focused mindset and also know the realistic aspects of creating content online because it's a highly saturated market as of now. And I'm saying it as someone who's been here for a long time and who now also is again facing the same competition as if I just started. So it's
right, Shraddha. Speaking of competition, also, I think then you would also feel the stress of having to stay up with trends, right? Having to keep up with trends. Is that something that you do? Is also, do you face the stress of having to keep up with the trends?
I think I feel like the most stressed person in the world at the moment. One, because our job's already very dynamic, right? There's no guarantee as to what is going to work tomorrow. And then it's also important to keep up with the foundation of what you had started with. So I do feel the pressure all the time. I'm not going to lie. I keep saying it on my social media as well. These trends are really affecting the way I work because it's not about your work anymore. It's a lot about just plain entertainment in a very small format. And for someone who has a very niche category, such as beauty, skincare, makeup, it's very difficult to keep up and, just produce just like बैठो और निकालो, ऐसे काम नहीं करना है. But I also feel that it's very important to keep up with them because business wise it's just a bad decision to ignore, which I have been doing. So I'm sitting down just re looking at whatever I do and how I can do it in the most authentic way possible.
Hmm. Right. I'm glad you brought up authenticity because you, of course, are talking about skin positivity, body positivity, and being real with your viewers, right? And that's what we're talking about this week as well. Mostly, we're talking about being real with, the people who consume your content. So, how important is that to you, and how do you ensure that you're always open and you're always being real with and being, transparent in a way with the people who consume your content?
You know what? I feel that being authentic is actually the easiest thing to do, because when you're pretending and when you're producing this image of you online, you can only do it so much, and if you can actually do it like full time, it's a lot of work. So the best possible way to keep yourself sane and keep it real is to just be yourself continuously. You don't have to put on a facade, because then doesn't differentiate us now from any person else. Like influencers are relevant because people find them relevant, and that's how we came into being, and that's how this profession is now booming, right? So I think I feel like I would much rather appreciate authenticity and a point of view when I'm also consuming content, because I'm a consumer too. And I just hope that anyone who crosses paths with me, be it like in a digital world or in general, has the same consistent happy experience, fulfilling experience. So I don't judge people basis on body, skin, anything. And I kind of keep the judgment low on myself also, because if I'm not judging anybody else, then why should I be judging myself? That's something that I keep in mind, and that's just how I live my life. Online, offline, it's the same. So it's quite easy.
Shraddha, then have you always been like this? In fact, have beauty standards that are prevalent for quite a while now, have they not affected you, or have they affected you and you then figured out a way out of them?
So I have always been pretty chill, pretty confident, pretty like don't care, not about anyone else, not about myself also in the same regard, because I was brought up like this. It's very simple. I think it depends a lot on your surroundings, not just your parents or like your family in general, but your surrounding in general. Where are you, which company are you in? So I learned from a very young age, because I am Nepalese, like my grandparents are from Nepal, right? So it's a very clear distinction. You can tell that this person doesn't necessarily look conventionally Indian, even if I have been born and raised here. So I saw that and I was like, you know what, it's something that's natural. That's I don't have any control over it. And if I don't have any control over it, I should not even bother about what someone else is saying. So I learned that pretty early on my own. My mom taught me to, just stay true to being a good person. So that's always been my priority. Abhi good person mein shakal nahi aati, skin nahi aata, body nahi aata. So that's why I think it's been easy. And I kind of keep it like that, because the more you talk about it and the more you normalize it, not even talk about it like jhanda leke, constantly tell, hey, you know what, I'm body positive, not like that. You're just being yourself, that's enough. So I
Hmm.
think that set a much better standard than you shouting and using it for clout as well. So it's always been like this, thankfully. Very grateful for that.
Right, Shraddha, then before you create your content, right, you then keep in mind the mental health, both your mental health and also the people who are consuming your content. Like, because like we've spoken about, sometimes following trends means going against your natural nature. You may not be comfortable following certain trends. And at the same time, it might even be harmful for people consuming your content. So do you then analyze and then pick and choose the trends that you follow? Because keeping mental health in mind is something that's important, and it has come up in conversation now. Is that something that you ever consider?
I mean, I think I'm notoriously known for taking way too many breaks, because the transition from being a full-time working person to just a
Mm.
full-time creator who's managing stuff on her own does not necessarily come from that background that can, just finance itself. So the pressure of just being able to fund yourself is also constantly there, right? So अगर मेरे को as a creator who sits at a very privileged position compared to a lot of other people, if I can have that stress, I make sure that none of my content speaks of that, which is why I keep taking breaks, which is why I pick and choose. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your profile, right? No one can force you to create any sort of content. You will only, yeah, the pressure is there because I would have been sitting on millions if I had picked on every single trend. And that works for people who genuinely like doing it. I don't.
Right.
So why you pick your fights, right? So I've picked mine and kind of keep that's always in the back of my mind.
That's wonderful, Shraddha. Thank you so much for joining us and telling us about your journey and the process behind how you create content. It was great having you on our show.
Thank you so much.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.